every nation know, whether it wishes us well or ill, that we shall pay any price, bear any burden, meet any hardship, support any friend, oppose any foe, to assure the survival and the success of liberty.
I'm confident, as I look to the future, that our chances for security, our chances for peace, are better than they've been in the past. And the reason is because we're stronger. And with that strength is a determination to not only maintain the peace, but also the vital interests of the United States. To that great cause, Texas and the United States are committed.
Just walking down here today, I was familiar with the setting, seeing it on a map and seeing it in a movie, and just looking at that the corner window up there, I just couldn't believe that's where an assassin's bullet came from. It was just hard to imagine. And right down here is where it all happened.
Oh, down here? Well, we wanted to see where the location where this all happened. It's the first time we've been here since it has happened. So we decided we'd, you know, being we're down here, we'd come down and look it over.
How do you feel being down here?
I don't know, it's just a thing of the past now, but, you know, still think about it.
And when my first trip was to Dallas, I stopped by, and the first thing I asked was, where was the president shot?
They're a familiar sight in Dallas, the tourist wandering around DEALEY Plaza and gazing up at the infamous window. The textbook depository is empty now, closed to the public. It wasn't always that way. A plow company erected the building in 1903. Its present owner, D. Harold Bird, bought it in 1937, and in 1960, the Texas School Book Depository leased it until they relocated several years ago. A national businessman bought it in 1970 for $650,000. He planned to turn it into a private museum of Kennedy memorabilia until he ran into financial difficulty and failed to meet his monthly payments. Bird reclaimed it in 1972. The building is for sale again at an asking price of $1.2 million. There are a number of interested parties, but a combination of political and financial reasons makes the depository's future a mystery.
I'm going to look pretty closely at anyone that I should sell it to. But I want to sell it. I want to get it off my hand. I wasn't known as the owner until I had it auctioned off. I would like for anyone who purchases it would use it in a way that wouldn't be a slam on Dallas. I want it to be something that would be put to the correct use without a lot of fanfare about the death of Kennedy, where they blame Dallas with having the right environment here for it.
About a year ago, a group of us here in Dallas formed a group known as Dallas Onward. The basic purpose of this group was to express our opposition to the dedication of the Texas School Book Depository as a national shrine. With the City Council having passed this resolution where nothing can be done with the property, we have felt that there's very little we could do, either in the way of raising funds or soliciting people to express their interest and make a contribution toward tearing down this structure.
There are those who have other plans for the depository. Since 1969, Raymond Nasher has chaired the 9-member John F. Kennedy Memorial Commission of Texas, a group created by the legislature and appointed by the governor, whose purpose has been to develop ideas about how to memorialize the late president.
The final decisions, after a great deal of conversation and research, is that the people want it preserved and restored. They want the exterior to remain as it is and the interior of the building to be used in some constructive form and it to be the Kennedy Memorial Landmark. If purchased, then we believe that this should relate to a type of activity that would be in keeping with President Kennedy's interest. For example, In our considerations in the John F. Kennedy Commission, we've considered, of course, child care and child development centers, which he had a great interest in. We thought about cultural centers, because when the Kennedy administration you came in, you remember, it was kind of like a cultural breath of spring. All of those things could relate to a memorial to the president. We feel of first importance is designating the School Book Depository as the building for a permanent landmark and memorial, and then secondly, the development of that area in his honor and memory in some form. What we decided to do in the commission is to put these resolutions in form and send a letter. We're drafting a letter that I'm sending out to each of the legislators themselves and asking them to reply to us as to whether this is positive or negative as far as their concern is. And if it is positive, then we assume that they'll move forward to provide the funds in the next appropriation bill. We also are stating further that if they concur with this principle, that we will develop private resources to handle the purchase or the optioning of this building until they're able to appropriate these funds, if funds are not available at this time.
Ray Nasher and the Commission reflect the thinking of others who feel that the depository, as a museum or as a center serving the public, should not be an enterprise operated commercially for profit, but instead should belong to the people of Texas. This museum is owned privately by John Sissom. It's been open to the public for 3.5 years. According to Mr. Sissom, the theme of the museum is the death of a president and the reaction of the people. The walls of the lobby are lined with enlarged front pages of newspapers announcing the assassination and the events surrounding it. One section includes a variety of jewelry and books for sale. $1.50 admits an adult, 75 cents for children, to a narrated slideshow entitled The Incredible Hours, a recreation of the assassination and a brief description of the president's life.
The models took 18 months to complete, and the program operates on an 82-channel computer readout system. When you leave, if you'll exit to your right, you'll go back to the lobby through an exhibit hall.
In the exhibit hall after the presentation, the visitor can see police photographs, a rifle like the one found in the depository, copies of speeches, Kennedy paintings, and assorted historical documents. Mr. Sissom said that he will continue to collect significant material about the late president with the museum proceeds. Like the Kennedy Memorial Commission, the City of Dallas is also concerned about the future of the depository. Earlier this year, the city tried to get the building placed on the National Register of Historic Places. This would have entitled Dallas to federal funds to buy the depository, if the city wanted it. The State Review Board denied the request, saying the depository did not meet the criteria for designation as an historical site. So the city is now taking a different and broader approach. The City Planning Department's Director for Urban Design, Wei-Ming Liu, has been supervising a study which will include a future for the depository.
I think we need to look at the whole area and not just the school book depository, rather than the whole district, its significance to the area and its potential. We don't have any specific uses as such. I think that it's important that for the city to discharge its historic responsibility properly.
What you see here has become part of a meticulously detailed piece of history, preserved in millions of words and photographs and films. But the fate of the Texas School Book Depository is still undecided. Nevertheless, people from all over the world will continue to come here. What they see, what they learn, is now up to Dallas.